The silver hull of the distant Truth gleamed under the light of twin stars as it drifted through the quiet edge of the Milky Way. This region of space rarely saw visitors. The Galactic Alliance vessel had been mapping this sector for 3 standard months, and the crew was growing restless. Tejo sat at his sensor station, all 6 of his limbs working across different panels. His exoskeleton clicked softly as he leaned forward, noticing something unusual on his screen. "Captain," he called out, his voice buzzing slightly. "I'm picking up an anomaly at coordinates 227 to 893. Captain Minji looked up from her command chair. Her translucent Aldarian skin showed the quickening pulse of blue light moving through her neural pathways, a sign of interest. "Define anomaly, Officer Tejo," she said, moving to his station. "It appears to be a vessel, but..." Tejo paused, recalibrating his sensors. "The propulsion signature doesn't match anything in our database." The bridge grew quiet. Unknown ships were rare in an age when the Galactic Alliance had catalogued nearly every spacefaring species. "Put it on screen," Minji ordered. The main view screen flickered to life. A sleek ship with unusual lines appeared, moving steadily through the darkness. It wasn't particularly large, but something about its design seemed strangely familiar to everyone watching. "Run a configuration analysis," Minji said to the ship's AI. A moment later, the AI's calm voice filled the bridge. "Analysis complete. Ship configuration matches historical records of human vessels with 89.7% certainty." Laughter erupted across the bridge. Even Minji's neural pathways flashed with amusement. "Humans?" First Officer Jin Young said, his scaled skin rippling. "That's impossible. The AI must be malfunctioning." Everyone knew the stories. Humans were creatures of myth, said to have once traveled the stars, seeding life across the galaxy before vanishing during the cosmic calamity. Children learned tales of these ancient beings, but no educated person believed they had ever existed. "Run a full diagnostic," Minji ordered. Tejo's limbs moved quickly across his console. "Diagnostic complete, Captain. All systems functioning normally." Minji frowned, her transparent brow furrowing. "Then explain how we're seeing a ship from a species that never existed." "Perhaps it's a new design," suggested Jin Young. "Or pirates using an unusual configuration to confuse potential targets." "There's one way to find out," Minji said, straightening her uniform. "Hail the vessel." Communications Officer Yunha touched her console with webbed fingers. "Channel open, Captain." "Unidentified vessel, this is Captain Minji of the Galactic Alliance ship Distant Truth. Please identify yourself." They waited. The bridge crew held their breath. Even the ship's environmentals seemed to quiet. The view screen changed. Instead of the mysterious ship, they now saw a room similar to their own bridge. But what shocked them into silence were the beings staring back at them. Bipedal creatures with soft-looking skin. No scales, no exoskeletons, no gills or extra limbs. They looked exactly like the descriptions in ancient texts, humans. "This is Commander Sora of the Earth exploration vessel Pathfinder," said the central figure, a female with dark hair and eyes. "We come in peace and hope to establish friendly contact." The bridge of the Distant Truth erupted in chaos. Officers whispered frantically. Tejo's limbs trembled so badly he could barely operate his console. Minji stood frozen, her neural pathways pulsing rapidly with disbelief and excitement. The impossible stood before her. Myths made flesh. "This must be some kind of trick," Jin Young whispered. "Humans aren't real." The human commander, Sora, tilted her head. "I assure you, we're quite real. Though I understand your surprise. According to our records, contact with the galactic community was lost over 4,000 years ago." Minji finally found her voice. "If you are truly human, then we have much to discuss. Our historical records speak of your kind, but most believe them to be legends." Sora smiled, showing white teeth, another detail exactly matching the ancient descriptions. "And we have stories of the Alliance as well. It seems we have both become myths to each other." Minji made a decision. We will approach and establish proper contact protocols. I would be honored to meet with you in person, Commander Sora. The honor would be ours, Captain, Sora replied. As the communication ended, Minji turned to her stunned crew. Set course to intercept. And contact Alliance headquarters immediately. Tell them. She paused, still processing the magnitude of this moment. Tell them the humans have returned. The distant truth glided alongside the human vessel, the two ships now only 500 meters apart. Through the viewport, the crew could see the sleek lines of the Pathfinder more clearly. It had none of the biological components common to Alliance vessels, looking instead like it had been forged from a single piece of metal. Are we certain this is safe? Asked Security Chief Jaiwo, her spines rising slightly along her back. If the old stories are true, humans can be unpredictable. Captain Minji's neural pathways pulsed with calm blue light. The legends also say they were the founders of the first interstellar peace treaty. We will extend trust until given reason not to. On the bridge, the crew prepared for the first visual communication with the humans. Science Officer Dohyan rapidly absorbed all available data on human biology from the ship's ancient archives. According to the old texts, Dohyan said, his methane respirator hissing softly as he spoke, humans require oxygen-nitrogen atmospheres, are carbon-based, and have a narrow temperature tolerance. They're supposedly adaptable, though. Extraordinarily so. The main screen activated again, showing the human commander. Now that they weren't in shock, the crew could study her properly. Commander Sora had features that seemed both alien and strangely familiar. Her skin was smooth, without scales or exoskeletal plates. Her eyes were dark and alert, scanning each member of the bridge crew with obvious curiosity. Captain Minji, she said, her voice clear and strong. We propose a meeting between our crews. We have docking capability if you'd like to send a delegation, or we're equipped to visit your vessel. Minji considered briefly before answering. We would be honored to visit your ship, Commander. It would be a historic moment, the first confirmed contact with humans in modern times. We look forward to welcoming you, Sora replied with what the Alliance crew recognized as a smile. As the communication ended, the bridge erupted in excited conversation. I'll need volunteers for the contact team, Minji announced. Several officers immediately raised hands, appendages, or tentacles. 2 hours later, after careful preparations and safety briefings, Minji led a small team toward the human vessel in a shuttle craft. The team included Dohyan, First Officer Jin Young, and Medical Officer Jaya, whose empathic abilities might help gauge the humans' intentions. As they approached the Pathfinder, Jaya gasped softly. I can sense them, she whispered, her feathery antennae quivering. So many emotions. So intense. What do you feel? Minji asked, concerned. Excitement. Curiosity. Caution. Hope. Ja's eyes widened. They feel things very strongly, Captain. The shuttle docked with a gentle thud. The airlock cycled, and the team waited nervously as the inner door slid open. There stood 3 humans, led by Commander Sora. In person, they seemed both more ordinary and more extraordinary than on screen. They wore simple blue uniforms with silver insignia and stood with an easy confidence. Welcome aboard the Pathfinder, Sora said, extending her hand. Minji hesitated, then remembered the ancient gesture. She reached out and clasped Sora's hand briefly. Thank you for your welcome, Minji replied. This is a moment that will change galactic history. Sora led them through corridors of smooth metal and glass. The ship was unlike any Alliance vessel, no living components, no symbiotic systems. Everything was mechanical, yet elegantly designed. They entered a conference room where more humans waited. One stepped forward, a tall male with dark skin. This is our chief scientist, Dr. Miho, Sora introduced him. Dr. Miho smiled warmly. I've spent my career studying the ancient connections between Earth and the stars. To actually meet descendants of those who knew our ancestors, it's overwhelming. As they sat around the table, the questions flowed from both sides. The humans explained they hadn't gone extinct but had retreated to their home system after a devastating conflict called the Rift War. They had spent millennia rebuilding, developing in isolation.
But why return now? Jean Young asked.
We never intended to stay hidden forever, Sora explained.
The isolation was meant to protect both us and the galaxy.
We needed time to heal, to make sure we wouldn't bring our conflicts to others.
Do-Hyeon leaned forward eagerly.
The archives say humans were remarkably adaptable.
Is that true? Miho laughed.
Our homeworld tried to kill us so many times that we evolved to survive almost anything.
What's deadly to one species is just an inconvenience to us.
As the meeting continued, Minji felt a growing sense of wonder. The legends had been real all along. The mysterious founders of galactic civilization, the beings who had supposedly seeded the stars with life, they had been in hiding, evolving, waiting. And now they had returned. The next day, a larger delegation from the distant Truth boarded the human vessel. This time, they brought specialists from various departments, eager to learn about these beings of legend. The humans had prepared a proper welcome, with a tour of their ship and demonstrations of their technology. Dr. Hyun, the human xenobiologist, led the science exchange.
He stood in the Pathfinder's laboratory, surrounded by curious Alliance scientists. His calm demeanor put everyone at ease despite the historic nature of the meeting.
Our physical adaptability comes from Earth itself, Dr. Hyun explained, displaying holographic images of a blue-green planet with varied environments.
Our homeworld has deserts, Arctic regions, mountains, oceans, and rainforests. To survive, we had to adapt to all of them. Do-Hyeon, the methane-breathing Korean, leaned forward in his environment suit.
But most species evolve for specific conditions, he said.
How can one species adapt to so many?
Instead of specializing, we generalized, Hyun replied. We can't breathe underwater like Aquarians or process methane like Koreans, but we can survive in more different environments than most species. In another section of the ship, engineer Juno demonstrated the human propulsion system to a group of fascinated Alliance engineers. The lead Alliance engineer, Jisoo, a being of living crystal, examined the drive core with all four of her eyes.
This defies our understanding of physics, she said, her crystalline form reflecting the blue glow of the core. You're bending space in a completely different way than our drives. Juno nodded.
We developed in isolation, so our technology took a different path.
We call this a fold drive.
Instead of pushing through space, we fold it and step across.
It's more efficient than anything we have, Jisoo admitted.
Meanwhile, Captain Minji met with Commander Sora in a garden area at the center of the Pathfinder. Living plants from Earth grew in carefully maintained beds, creating a peaceful atmosphere. Your ship has no biological components, Minji observed.
All Alliance vessels use partial organic systems. Sora nodded.
We experimented with biotech, but found we preferred keeping our technology and biology separate.
It's a philosophical difference, perhaps. Yet you maintain this garden, Minji noted.
We need reminders of home, Sora said softly, touching a red flower.
Humans have always kept plants nearby, even in space.
It keeps us connected to our roots. Throughout the day, both crews exchanged knowledge and stories. The humans shared their history, how they had retreated to their solar system after the Rift War, a conflict with an ancient enemy they called the Void Ones. The Alliance members shared how galactic civilization had developed in humanity's absence, with hundreds of species forming a cooperative community. In the medical bay, Alliance Medical Officer Jaya watched in astonishment as human Dr. Sunwoo demonstrated their medical technology. You can regrow limbs? Jia asked, her feathery antennae quivering with excitement. With the right genetic guidance, yes, Sunwoo explained. Our medical technology focuses on helping the body heal itself rather than replacing parts. By the ship's mess hall, cultural exchanges happened more naturally.
Human crew members shared foods from Earth, spicy dishes that made some Alliance members cough, sweet treats that delighted others.
Alliance crew shared stories of their worlds, describing oceans of liquid methane and cities built in the clouds of gas giants. Security teams from both vessels found common ground quickly. Human Security Chief Dong He demonstrated hand-to-hand combat techniques to Alliance Security Chief Jaiwoo, whose spines flattened in respect. You fight without natural weapons, she noted, extending her clawed hand. Yet you compensate with technique. Dong He smiled. Necessity drives innovation. We've had to be creative. As the day ended, both crews gathered in the Pathfinder's largest hall for a formal dinner. The atmosphere had changed completely from the cautious first meeting. Now there was laughter, excited conversations, and even attempts at learning each other's languages. Minji raised a glass in toast. To new beginnings and old legends, she said. Sora raised her own glass. To finding family among the stars. As the dinner continued, Minji spoke quietly to Sora. Tomorrow, we'd like to host your crew aboard the Distant Truth. Our ship is quite different from yours, more alive than mechanical. I think your people would find it fascinating. We would be honored, Sora replied. Neither captain knew that their peaceful exchange would soon be interrupted, that fate had more in store for this historic reunion than simple diplomacy. As they celebrated, sensors on both ships remained quiet, not yet detecting the approaching danger lurking at the edge of the system. The red alert klaxon woke Captain Minji from a deep sleep. She rushed to the bridge of the Distant Truth, her neural pathways flashing with concern. Report, she demanded as the door slid open. First Officer Jin Young turned to her, his scales pale with stress. We've detected multiple ships entering the system, Captain. Crimson Horde signatures. Minji's heart sank. The Crimson Horde was the most notorious pirate fleet in the sector, known for their ruthless tactics and advanced weaponry. How many vessels? She asked. 7, Tejo replied from his sensor station. 6 frigates and 1 heavy cruiser. Minji activated the calm system. Commander Sora, this is Captain Minji. We have a situation. Minutes later, both captains were reviewing tactical displays. The pirate ships were approaching rapidly, their formation designed to cut off escape routes. They must have detected our ships and want to investigate, Sora said. Unusual technology attracts pirates like moths to flame. The Distant Truth is a research vessel, Minji explained. We have defensive capabilities, but we're not designed for combat against multiple warships. Sora's expression changed subtly. The diplomatic warmth remained, but something else emerged, a calculating intensity that made Minji remember the ancient warnings about human warriors. The Pathfinder has combat systems, Sora said. We can help. Before they could discuss strategy further, a harsh voice cut through the communications channel. Alliance vessel and unknown ship. This is Captain Rocco's of the Crimson Horde. Power down your systems and prepare to be boarded. Resist, and we will destroy you both. Minji exchanged glances with Sora. We cannot surrender. The Horde shows no mercy to captives. Agreed, Sora said, and turned to her crew. Battle stations. What happened next astonished the Alliance crew. The humans transformed before their eyes. The friendly, curious diplomats became focused, efficient warriors. They moved with purpose, calling out status reports in crisp, short phrases. This system has an asteroid field at coordinates 339 to 772, said Sora, studying the tactical display. If we can reach it, we might have a fighting chance. Minji nodded. Our shields will have difficulty in the field, but it's better than facing them in open space. Both ships accelerated toward the asteroid field, the pirate fleet in close pursuit. The first shots from the Crimson Horde struck the Distant Truth's rear shields, causing the ship to shudder. Shields at 82%, reported Jin Young. The Pathfinder suddenly changed course, putting itself between the pirates and the Alliance vessel. Its shields flared as it absorbed several direct hits. What are they doing? Jai gasped. They'll be destroyed. But the human ship shields held, allowing the Distant Truth to reach the safety of the asteroid field first. The Pathfinder followed, executing maneuvers that seemed impossible for a vessel its size. Once among the asteroids, Commander Sora revealed her strategy. We need to separate their forces. Captain Minji, can your ship emit false sensor readings? Yes,
We can project multiple signatures. Good. Create as many false targets as possible. We'll use the asteroids for cover and pick them off one by one. The Alliance crew watched in amazement as the humans implemented their plan.
The Pathfinder wove through the asteroid field with impossible precision, using the space rocks as weapons by maneuvering pirates into their paths.
The smaller human vessel attacked with surgical precision, disabling engines and weapons systems rather than destroying ships outright.
They fight like they've done this 1,000 times, Jiwo said, her spines fully extended in a mixture of fear and admiration. The Distant Truth projected sensor ghosts that confused the pirate targeting systems, while the humans executed swift attack runs. 3 pirate ships were disabled within minutes. But the Crimson Horde's flagship, a massive cruiser, broke through their defenses and fired a direct hit at the Distant Truth. The Alliance ship spun from the impact, losing power to its main engines. "We're sitting targets now," Minji said grimly. The pirate cruiser moved in for the kill, only to be met by the Pathfinder emerging from behind a large asteroid. The human ship fired precisely at the cruiser's weapon systems, disabling them one by one.
"Alliance vessel, are you all right?" Sora's voice came through the comms.
"Damaged but operational," Minji replied.
"Your timing is impeccable." With their flagship crippled and half their fleet disabled, the remaining pirate ships retreated, jumping to lightspeed with whatever functioning systems they had left.
In the aftermath, the crews of both ships gathered in the Distant Truth's damaged bridge. The Alliance members looked at the humans with new eyes, seeing not just diplomats and scientists, but warriors of legendary skill. "The stories were true," Jin Young said quietly.
"Humans really are both peacemakers and warriors." Sora smiled slightly.
"We prefer the former, but we're prepared to be the latter when necessary.
Now, let's help you repair your ship."
The news spread across the galaxy faster than any ship could travel.
Transmitted through the Alliance communication network, the message was simple yet profound. Humans are real, and they have returned.
On the space station Concordia, a gleaming structure built as a meeting place for all species, Captain Minji stood beside Commander Sora. They watched through the massive viewport as ships arrived from dozens of worlds. Each vessel carried dignitaries, scientists, and reporters eager to witness this historic moment. "I never imagined I would become an ambassador," Minji said, her neural pathways glowing with a mix of emotions.
Sora smiled. "Neither did I. We came seeking quiet exploration, not galactic fame."
6 weeks had passed since the battle with the Crimson Horde. The Distant Truth had been fully repaired with the help of human technology. The pirates who had been captured now faced Alliance justice, their testimonies about human combat abilities adding to the growing legend. The station's Grand Conference Chamber had been prepared for the first official meeting between humanity and the Galactic Alliance. Representatives from 200 worlds filled the room, creating a colorful tapestry of life forms. Some breathed methane, others floated in water tanks, and a few existed as pure energy contained in special fields.
Alliance High Chancellor Yubin, an ancient being with 6 eyes and silver skin, rose to speak.
His voice resonated through the chamber.
"For millennia, we believed humans were merely legends, stories told to explain the origins of our shared civilization.
Today, we welcome them not as myths, but as living beings with whom we share this vast galaxy."
Human Ambassador Juho stepped forward.
Unlike Sora, who was a military commander, Juho had been sent from Earth specifically for this diplomatic mission. His calm presence brought a hush to the room. "We regret our long absence," he began. "The Rift War forced us to retreat and heal. We needed time to ensure we wouldn't bring our conflicts to others. Now we return, hoping to rejoin the galactic community as partners, not as the founders of legend, but as equals." The chamber erupted in discussion.
Some representatives expressed concern about human military capabilities, citing the battle reports from the Crimson Horde encounter.
Others saw opportunity in human technology, which had developed along different paths than Alliance science. Throughout the debate, Minji observed how the humans handled themselves. They listened more than they spoke.
They answered direct questions honestly but didn't volunteer information that might cause alarm.
They showed respect for all beings, regardless of form. Later that day, Minji joined Sora in the station's garden dome. The space had been planted with flora from dozens of worlds, creating a peaceful retreat from the intense negotiations.
Your people are adapting well, Minji noted. Just as the legends said you would. Sara watched a group of human scientists conversing with a crystalline being from the outer rim. Adaptation is our specialty.
But this is just the beginning.
There will be challenges ahead.
Already there are rumors, Minji admitted.
Some believe humans have returned to reclaim leadership of the galaxy. Others fear your warrior abilities. And what do you believe? Sora asked. Minji's neural pathways pulsed with conviction.
I believe in what I've seen, not in ancient texts or rumors.
I've seen your people show both strength and restraint. That's what the galaxy needs. A small commotion caught their attention.
Near a fountain in the center of the garden, a human child was showing an Eldarian youngster how to skip stones across the water's surface. The Eldarian child, with transparent skin like Minji's, was laughing as the stones bounced.
They don't know they're making history, Sora said softly.
That's the beauty of it, Minji replied.
To them, it's just play. Days later, the formal alliance was signed. Humanity would slowly reintegrate with galactic society.
Earth would remain protected, its location shared only with trusted allies, but human outposts would be established throughout Alliance space. As the ceremony concluded, High Chancellor Yubin presented a gift to the human delegation, a crystal containing the oldest known record of human existence, preserved for thousands of years in Alliance archives. The circle closes, he said. The legends return to their source.
Ambassador Juho accepted the crystal with reverence. And new legends begin today.
On the observation deck, Minji and Sora stood again before the viewport, watching the assembled ships prepare to depart, each carrying news of this day to distant worlds.
What happens now? Minji asked. Sara pointed to the stars spread out before them. We explore. Together this time. No more hiding, no more legends. Just truth.
As if to emphasize her words, a new ship appeared from Lightspeed, another human vessel, sleek and powerful, coming to join its sister ship.
More would follow, Minji knew. Humanity had returned to the stars, and the galaxy would never be the same.